Hello everyone, Mr. Schultz here. Welcome to Integrated 2, Chapter 1-3. Please make sure your name is in the top right hand corners, and we're going to be dealing with medians and altitudes of triangles. So what is a median? So a median is a line segment with the endpoints of the vertex and the midpoint of the side opposite the vertex. So what is that? Well, here's a handy dandy picture right here. Here's the vertex, and it goes across, and look, it bisects this. Now, this is not the perpendicular bisector, because it's not perpendicular. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. Let's go on. So what is a centroid? All right, well, the centroid, the medians of a triangle are concurrent at a concurrency, a point of concurrency. This point of concurrency is called the centroid. Okay, well, what is that? Well, okay, so you have your medians, and so each one of these breaks up the triangle. So this is half, this is half, this is half, and right here, boom, that's the centroid. Let's go on. So here's the centroid theorem. The medians of a triangle intersect at a point called the centroid that is 2/3 of the distance from each vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. Okay, well, let's go to example 1. Use the centroid theorem. So in triangle ABC, P is the centroid, and BL is 6. Find BP and PL. All right, well, we understand that BP is going to be equal to 2/3 of BL. Okay, well, there we go. So how do we know what BL is? Well, BL was given. So this is given right here. And we're going to do this thing called substitution. So we're going to substitute right here. So 2/3 of 6 will equal BP. All right, so from our postulate, our segment addition postulate, we know that BP plus PL will equal 6. Okay, well, BP plus PL equals 6. How do we know that? Well, because the whole thing is 6, so BP plus PL will equal BL, and BL equals 6. All right, well, BP is equal to 4. How do we know that? Well, 2/3 times 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So 4 plus PL equals 6. All right, well, now we're going to just need to simplify it. We could do the subtraction property of equality on either side, and we get PL is equal to 2. There we go. There's example 1. We figured out what PL is from the information. Let's go. So we can apply the centroid theorem. So we're given this information. We're given that, hey, look, these are going to be congruent. Hey, these are going to be congruent. Hey, these are going to be congruent. We're given that PY is going to be 7. And we have to figure out what LP is. All right. So I'm going to be typing some stuff up. So this is the centroid theorem right here. LP is going to be 2/3 of LY. Okay, this is the centroid theorem. All right, well, let's go on to the next part. So we see that LP plus PY. Okay, so we know that LY equals LP plus PY. What is that? Well, that's going to be the segment addition postulate and substitution. There we go. All right, well, what do we know? Well, we know that Py is 7. How? Technically, we know that Py is equal to 7. Why? Because it was the given information. All right. What's that called when we multiply? It was 1-4 from integrated 1 that you may have watched earlier this year. It's called the distributive property. When you multiply outside into each of the things in the parentheses. Okay, after this, what did we do? Well, we have LP on one side and LP on the other side. Well, we're going to subtract. We're going to do the subtraction property of equality because we subtracted 2/3 LP on both sides. Well, now what we have to do is to go from 1/3 LP. 1/3 is not really 1/3, it's divide by 3. So what we're going to do is going to times 3 on both sides. So we're going to do the multiplication property of equality. So we can go back and we can show you, hey, this is what we did. You know, right here, we did their multiplication right here. We decided to minus 2/3 on both sides, LP, oops, minus 2/3 LP. And then we were like, all right, well, on this point right here, we're going to times 3 and times 3. And that cancels out this divide by 3 right there. All right, we have 2 more examples. We're going to try to get this out before we hit that 11-minute mark. Let's go on. All right. Find the centroid on the coordinate plane. So someone's going to hang chimes, and when the platform is placed on a coordinate plane, the vertices of the triangles are located at 1, 1, 11, 5, 7, 10. What are the coordinates if we want them to stay balanced? Well, if we want them to stay balanced, we're going to have a central location. We're going to try to find the centroid of this. All right, so basically what I would do, let me zoom out a little bit. Basically what I would do is I would figure out, all right, which one of these is easy to deal with. So if I try to go to A to B, I know I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know that if I go halfway up and halfway across, I'm going to get my median. Get out of here. I'm going to get my median. Let's show you. What do I mean? Well, I'm going to go up 1, 2, and over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My slope right here is up 4 over 10. So halfway is my median. I know this is going to be congruent now. And I know that I'm going to connect C to this point right here, like straight down like that. That's my median. The next thing I know what I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to, I know my point right here. I know one of my points. I'm going to want to, so I can figure out, I know from here to here, there's going to be a point right here that, well, let me make it a point. I know there's going to be a point like right here. That's going to be, this is 2/3. Let me write this in this. This is going to be 2/3. This is going to be 1/3. Well, I can figure out what my distance is, or where my slope's going to be. I know that I'm going to go, this is, what point is this? This point is 6, 3 right here. If I did my calculations right. And I know that this is 7, 10. So I'm going to figure out what is my slope from there. My slope from here to here will be it's going to be my delta x will be 1. My delta y will be 7. So I know I could figure out, hey, instead of going up 7 over 1, I can go up a third of that and go over a third. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to times 1/3. So I'm going to times 1/3 to, let's see what I can write this. I'm going to do right here. I'm going to times 1/3 to 7 and 1/3 to 1. So if I times 1/3, I will get 7/3 is my delta y, and 1/3 will be my delta x to get here. So if I add this up, 7 divided by 3, that'd be 2 1/3. So I know for a fact that this will be, the y will be 2 1/3 above that, so that'd be 5 1/3. And my x will be 6 plus 1/3, so comma 6 1/3. This is like one of those tricky things, and you're like, all right, how do I figure this out? Well, there's multiple ways you could figure it out. But in this situation, hey, if we figure out one of our midpoints, all we have to do now is find, depending on which direction we go, hey, we have to go 1/3 up, or we have to go 2/3 down, and figure it out. All right, let's go on. So on this one, it's kind of a little hokey. Altitudes of triangles. So altitudes are line segments from the vertex to the opposite side, and they're going to be perpendicular. So you know they're going to have a 90-degree angle. Okay? So here's the most important part. Every triangle has 3 altitudes, and these altitudes will touch, and they'll have a concurrent point if you extend them. And this point of concurrency is called the orthocenter. So what does this mean? Well, this orthocenter is just where all the perpendicular lines from the side to the vertex will meet. That's it. So I'm not going to do the next one. I'm just going to show you how you would solve it. We're not going to focus on this for the test. So slope is rise or run. If I were to figure out what the slope of AC would be, it'd be -3 over 2. It goes down 3 over 2, down 3 over 2. So what you would have to do is you'd have to do the perpendicular slope to that. So you'd flip it and then times it with -1. So it's the negative reciprocal. So the negative reciprocal of that slope would be 2 over 3, because that's equal to -3 over 2 times -1, and then you flip it. Flip the fraction. The reciprocal. Flip it. So why is this a lot more complicated than it seems right now? So after you figure that out, what you're going to have to do is you have to figure out the equation for, where this is hitting. It's like, all right, where is this going? This is going to hit right, this is going to hit, where is this line hitting? That sort of thing. What you have to do after you figure out the equations of your altitudes is you have to do a system of equation. And I can tell you for a fact that systems of equations weren't really covered last year. So pretty much you have this, and then there's several different ways for you to solve it. You just combine the two. You're like, all right, I have -x plus 4 is equal to 2/3 x plus 16 over 3. How do we get that? Well, because I know I could do substitution. Since I know that y is equal to this and y is equal to that, I know that they're both equal. And then solve for x. After we solve for x, then we plug the x value back in and solve for y. I'm going to tell you right now, we're not going to really cover as much as we would next year. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and have a good day.